In this video, we would be covering up two types of rounding for decimal numbers. One is rounding decimal to whole numbers and other is rounding decimal to nearest 10. Let's take rounding decimal to whole number examples first. Let's say we are given a number 3154.24 and we are supposed to round it to whole numbers. Whole number rounding means round to ones place. So the other name of whole number rounding is rounding to the nearest ones place. We start writing the place values. Before decimal we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. We know ones place is this. So we are rounding ones place. On the right side of the decimal, the first place is tenths place. I'm putting it as TTHS. Hundredths place is HTHS. I'm putting it as TTHS. Hundredths place is HTHS. If we have to round to ones place, we check the number on the right side. That's always the case when we do rounding. The number that we have to round, we always check the number on the right side and compare the number on the right side with 5. So when 2 is compared to 5, we know 2 is less than 5. That would leave the number that we are rounding as the same number. Therefore, the number that we are left with is 3154, and everything after the number that we're rounding turns to a 0. Now why is this called rounding to nearest whole number or rounding to whole numbers? Is because after decimal we just see zeros. We can write these zeros with the decimal or we can write on the number as 3154. And we notice that this number is a whole number without any decimal in there. That's why ones place rounding is called whole number rounding. And we always compare the number that we are, and we always compare the number on the right side of the rounding number with 5 that we have already learned in previous videos where we have learned rounding of tens, hundreds or thousand place of numbers. If you need more clarification, I would recommend you watching those videos first and then come back to decimal rounding video. Let's do another example for the sake of practice. If we have to round 8354 6.87 to the nearest whole number. Whole number means ones place rounding. We put the place values, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000. After that we have TTHS, HTHS. You already know these are place values of decimal numbers. We are rounding to whole number means we are rounding to ones place. So circle the ones place. Underline the number on the right side. Number on the right side is 8. Compare it to 5. We know 8 is greater than 5. That will make this number 6 go 1 up. Therefore, the answer that we get is 83547 because 6 has now become 7. It has gone 1 up. Everything before that stays the same. Everything after the rounding number turns into a 0. We can put these zeros with decimal or we can just leave the number 83547 as is. This and this means the same thing. And this is how we round the decimal numbers to nearest whole numbers. Let's learn how to round decimal numbers to nearest tenths. Let's take up an example. We have 3581.25. We place the place value chart. We have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Right side is tenths place, hundreds place. The question wants us to round to the nearest tenths. So whatever place we are rounding, we circle that place. Tenths we are rounding, so we circle tenths place and underline the number on the right side. The number on the right side we compare to 5 and 5 is equal to 5. We know if the number on the right side is equal to 5 or is greater than 5, then the number that you're rounding has to go 1 up. So this number would go 1 up. Everything else before that number would stay the same. So we have 3581 point. This 2 would become 3 and we are left with nothing after this place because it has turned into a 0. Therefore, we can write this number as 3581.30 or we can write down 3581.3. Both of these numbers are same. And since the last digit that we have is the 10th place, that's why it's called rounding to the nearest 10. Let's do another question for the sake of practice. If we have to round 6351.23 to the nearest 10, rules of roundings always stay the same. We put the place values, the place that we are rounding, we circle that number. The place on the right side of that number, we underline it and compare the underlined number with 5. 3 is less than 5, so 2 will stay the same. Number before that will come down as is, 6351.2 would stay as is, and the circle number would have on the right side a 0. We can put the 0 because this 0 is a decimal part, therefore we can either put the 0 or we can just write on the number as 6351.2 as is. And this is how we round decimal numbers to the nearest 10.